everyone, welcome back to Modern Retro Gal. My name is JL and today we're going to talk about brows. Brows are the one thing that really makes or break a makeup look for me personally. This is not all of my brows. This is quite filled in, and it's actually one of the things that, as far as my makeup goes, that I get the most compliments on, I guess to toot my own horn, toot toot, are my eyebrows. And believe me, I have gone through a major eyebrow transformation. Kind of having a little bit of a difficult mental health time right now. The last month has been a little rough. I was sick a lot. I not only had a cold, but I had some chronic health issues that flared up, and then the kids got sick. So I'm still kind of struggling a little bit mentally, but I met with my therapist yesterday. So, you know, I kind of have like an action plan in place of how to sort of keep building myself back up. So I sort of struggle through this video. That's kind of why, but I love doing these videos because I put them out and then I get to interact with all of you and you guys make me feel better. So anyways, brows. Yeah, so I have to do quite a bit of what I call corrective fill-in for my brows. They are thin, they are patchy, they sit on different places of my face. This eyebrow, my right eyebrow, is actually sits up higher, the hair is up higher than my left eyebrow. It sits down lower. So that makes filling in a little bit of a challenge, because not only do I have to just fill them in, but I have to make sure that once they're done, they both look even. There is this sort of saying that your eyebrows don't need to be twins, they just need to be sisters, so they just need to look similar enough. And while that's true, sometimes sisters don't look alike. Sometimes sisters take after different parents. So I would say, while your eyebrows don't need to be identical twins, they should look like unidentical twins. That's what you should be, in my humble opinion, going for. And basically what I mean is, with identical twins, they are a mirrored copy image of each other. With unidentical twins, a lot of times they look a lot alike, but there'll be like subtle differences. And unless you're really looking for those differences, they pretty much look the same. So that's what I would say for your brows. Try to get them as close to looking similar as possible, but like, you don't want one brow to start further in and the other one over here, and you don't want like one arch to be super high and the other one to be like totally natural, and you don't want one eyebrow to be lower than the other. I mean, they might look similar, but like if they're totally all over the place, that's not cute either. So I'm going to show you how I do my eyebrows and how I kind of overcome those obstacles. The other thing that I have found with eyebrows is it's really important to just be comfortable with the product that you're using. If you are struggling with your brow product, whether it is a brow pencil, a brow powder, a pomade, a gel, either a mascara gel or like the tube, like the waterproof gel things that you can get in a tube, like NYX has one, and Makeup Forever has one. So whatever you're using, be comfortable with that product. Even with eyebrow pencils, not all eyebrow pencils are the same. Not all brow powders are the same. Not all brow waxes are the same. Not all the pomades are the same. So, you know, just be comfortable with the product that you're using. That may mean that you have to kind of go through a few different products to find the one that you really works for you and that you feel comfortable with, because that makes a really huge difference. If you are struggling with the product, you're going to struggle with filling in your eyebrows and you're never really going to be happy with them. So that's one thing that's important. Right now, my favorite is from NYX. It is the Precision Brow Pencil. I use the shade Soft Brown. I just really like this pencil. I've showed this before in a video. It comes with a really nice spoolie. This has kind of like a flatter tip. It's kind of like this flat rectangular tip. Hopefully you can see that okay. And you know, I've just found that for me, it just works really well. It's not too creamy so that it sort of slides all over my face, but it's not so stiff that I'm struggling trying to get it to blend in. It's kind of just the right balance for me for what I like. The other thing that I've really been enjoying, I'm sorry about all the noise, this is from Essence. It is the Make Me Brow Eyebrow Gel Mascara. This is the shade Soft Brownie Brows. I don't know if this comes in another shade. This was the only shade that I could find in the store, but this does have tiny fibers in it. So sometimes if I am really lazy or if I'm doing very, very minimal makeup, I will brush this on, but I will really work it into the skin also, not just my brow hairs, but I'll work it into the skin so that it does kind of fill in some color on the skin underneath my brows to make them look a little bit fuller, and this works pretty well. I can't come all the way in, and you'll see during the tutorial what I mean. I can't come all the way in with this because I don't have hair in here, but I have been really happy with this, and I do feel like it does give a little bit extra thickness because it does have those little like brow fibers in it. So these have been favorites of mine. I've been using these for quite a while and I really like them. Okay, sorry about that. My camera stopped filming for some reason. So like I was saying, a few things I still see people hold on to is the sort of 3 points on your face to use to fill in your eyebrows. And while that is fine, I do feel like there are easier ways than sort of holding a pencil to your nose and sort of doing all this and marking places and all that kind of thing. Because if you just go, okay, and some people hold it out here, I don't think, if you really like this method and feel like it works for you, I caution against holding it to the outside of your nostril because everyone's flaps are a different size. So if it sits out wider on your face, then you're gonna have your eyebrow stopping further out. So I say use the bridge of your nose to your tear duct, and use that as a guide. And then if you wanna go this way through your pupil, and then come over here to the tail. I would actually say to start to fill in your eyebrow and then go back and use this method to kind of perfect it instead of using those as like the actual points. I think that it's important that your eyebrows fit the shape of your face. And while this can be handy, maybe that's not the shape of your eyebrow. Maybe there's like some kind of a scar or something right in those points where you have to kind of work with something going on to where it doesn't quite work. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I just think that looking at your face and really kind of deciding like where, like I kind of use almost like my temples as a guide, like just on the inside of my temples. So kind of like right on my forehead where it starts to curve back. I sort of use that more as the guide for the high point of my eyebrows. And then I sort of use, you know, the end of my eyes or the style makeup that I'm wearing to dictate, you know, where the end of the tail is for my brows. But I do try to keep it, you know, at the end of at the outer corner when it comes up from my eyes. And then I use like the bridge of my nose to like a tear duct for where my brows should start. So a few things about where your brows should start. You don't really you want them to kind of really be, you know, anchored, like I said, to the bridge of your nose, to the tear duct area. That's kind of the ideal. If your brows naturally come in further, if you like the way it looks, then just go with it. If your eyes are set closer together on your face, you can use your eyebrows to help camouflage that by starting your eyebrows a little bit further back. I wouldn't go any further than just to the inside of your tear duct. Otherwise, I think that that's too far back. But if your eyes are really close together, if you know, set your eyebrows back a little bit, that can help to widen your eyes. If your eyes are sitting further apart, the further in you take where your eyebrow starts, the more it's gonna pull your eyes to look like they're closer together. So that's just a couple of tips. But again, just be careful. You're gonna wanna kind of play with it. to sort of figure out what works best, because you don't want to go into a unibrow situation, because we're not going for that either. But you know, you can use where your brows start to help kind of balance your face. Anything else? I talked about different types of products, being comfortable, where your brow should start, the arch. You know, what I'm using, I do a little bit more of a dramatic, I don't do like a super dramatic eyebrow, but I do more of like a classic kind of higher arch. Some days it's higher than others, it just depends. Don't worry about how high up I take my arch. If you like just a very natural curve to your brow, or you just really want to follow your natural brow shape, but you need some help kind of filling in, you can still use this technique. I just have to fill, like, everything up here is filled in, everything up here is filled in, you know, most of the tail, this is all filled in. So I just have to do a lot of corrective filling in because I don't have a lot of brow hair. So I think that's about it for what I wanted to talk about. I don't want this to be too terribly long before we get into the tutorial. So if you want to see how I do my eyebrows, keep watching, and yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so as you can see, having my brows done makes a huge difference with my makeup. Sorry, I'm just looking at myself in the mirror over here going, woo. I know my makeup is, I probably touched on this in the intro, but I know my makeup is a little more, I don't know, maybe dramatic. But even with everyday makeup, this is what I have working with me. So even if it's just like a really simple everyday look, my brows make a huge difference. So I'm going to be using the NYX Precision Brow Pencil in soft brown to do my brows. So this is how I do them. So I always start with the spoolie, and I kind of brush my brows, what I have of brows, into place. Hopefully this isn't going to be in the way too much. And because I need glasses or contacts, I tend to work really close to a mirror. So I'm going to try and keep that balanced, just because I need to be able to really see up close. So I'm going to start with, this would be my right eyebrow. Am I going to start with that one? No, I usually start with my left eyebrow because that's kind of my easier eyebrow. And then I can do the right to kind of match. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to see this okay. I'm going to do both brows, so hopefully this works. I didn't really check my angles that well. So I am going to start kind of at the bottom. Well, not kind of. I am going to start at the bottom of my brows where the hairs are, and I'm going to start to sketch out the bottom of this brow. And to be honest, I may struggle a little bit more because I already have makeup on. And I usually do my brows first because I feel like it makes it easier with my makeup placement when my brows are already done. And I also feel like it's a little bit less distracting for me to figure out exactly where I want them to be when my makeup isn't done. So right now I'm kind of working on extending the tail of my brow further out because I kind of like it to line up with the end of my makeup as much as possible, or a little bit further out. So that's kind of where I start. I just sort of start to map out that shape for the bottom of my brow, and then I start to work a little bit feathering in some color into where I do have hair, because my brow hair stops about right here and I extend it further down. So I extend it closer to the bridge of my nose. I kind of use like my tear duct to like the bridge of my nose, kind of, as like my anchor point for where I want my brows to start and stop. And then from here, I just sort of start to work up where I want my arch. If you don't want a more defined arch, you know, that's fine. This technique will still work. It's just about, you know, how high up you take it, or whether you kind of match your natural brow shape. So I kind of work up and I kind of stop and I look and I see, like, I kind of know now where I want my arch to be. I just kind of have it memorized, like, on my face. I mean, that's the kind of nice thing about like wrinkles and skin discoloration, is I can use them as like landmarks on my face for where my brows need to be. So, you know, don't worry about freckles or moles or fine lines or wrinkles or a little bit of skin discoloration. You know, use that to your advantage. So as you can see, I'm just starting to, as I kind of figure out in place where the high point of my brow is going to be, then I can start to use that line to extend the top of where the tail of my brow is going to be, and I just sort of start to work that down and blend everything in. And then I like to go back with the spoolie and just kind of blend and really make sure that things look nice and like even and smooth as much as possible. And then from here, I start to work more upward at first, kind of making it look like there's little hair strokes here before I really start to kind of fill this in a little more solidly. I just feel like having that a little bit of like dark strokes in the midst of, you know, where I've filled in with the pencil, I feel like makes it look a little bit more natural and kind of makes it look like there's actually hair there. And that's, I think by doing this, is kind of what confuses most people into not believing me that I don't actually have hair there. They're like, no, I can see the hair. I'm like, nope, that is the strokes from my pencil. Now again, I don't do like a super blocked off, like straight off brow, and I don't totally do an angle either. I kind of, the shape where my brow ends kind of changes a little bit. I mean, my brows never look exactly the same every day because I do have to do this every day. And so, you know, some days are better than others for filling in brows. Like today, this one, of course, this is my easier brow, but I just kind of wanted to work. I guess it knew that I was going to be filming. We'll see what the right side wants to do. But I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So that is one brow done. So again, I don't follow a lot of rules of like this and this and this kind of a thing. I kind of look at the shape of my eye and where, you know, things are on my face. And I adjust, you know, to that accordingly. Sometimes the tail of my brow is a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter. Kind of depends on what I'm doing with my makeup that day. But yeah, that, and I could spend a lot of time kind of going in and perfecting everything. But you know, this is actually pretty decent, especially with the way my makeup is. I think that this is like a really nice brow. So now we're gonna go in and we're gonna do the same thing on the right brow. This one is higher up on my face, so I have more hair up here than I do down here. So I have to kind of balance, and I have more hair higher on this inner part, and then I have hardly any hair through here. So I have to sort of like balance all of that. So that's why this brow is a little bit trickier. This one, even though it sits lower on my face, there's more evenness to the shape of the brow, whereas this one, it kind of comes up and then dips way down. So that's sort of the joy of this brow. So again, I'm just going to kind of brush through and make sure. And I'm going to work from the bottom, I'm going to sketch over like so. And so now that I have my left brow done, I use this as an anchor, the shape of this and the placement as an anchor to match this side. So if you have one brow that always seems to work a lot better, some people say do the other brow first and then match your good brow to it. I do the opposite. I like to work with my good brow first and have that be my anchor, and then do the best that I can to match the not so easy side to it. It's just easier in my brain. Some people like to do the opposite, but I find with brows especially, because some people do that with eyeliner, but I find with brows, because your brows are the frame to your face, it's really better to start with the good brow and get that one done and anchored, and then try it and match. So we are going to sketch in a little bit more. And I'm constantly looking back and forth at the other brow to figure out for the shape at the bottom of this brow. And sometimes I don't really know until I've started to fill in. So kind of at this point, especially because I have makeup on, I'm gonna start that initial fill-in process again. This brow actually starts right there. You can kind of see, like, this is where it starts. There's maybe like 2 hairs over here. So I have to fill all of that in the same fashion that I did my left brow. So I'm gonna start to work on filling this one in. I also have, is the scar on this one above or inside? I think I have a scar on the inside of this brow, but for some reason, like, the skin on this brow and the hairs are just a little bit patchier. So it can be kind of difficult to get the fill-in process to look really even. I really need to go and have them kind of reshaped. I usually have them take a little bit of this off on top just so that they're even. I basically just go in and I'm like, can you just try and make them as even as possible? And that's about all I do when I go in and have my brows done. It's not really about shaping them, because there's not that much hair to shape, and so it's just about getting them as even as possible so that when I go to fill them in, I can shape them the way I want them, and it's just a little bit easier. Another thing that I do, I don't know how well this is sort of coming through, but when I go to do my tail, I like to tilt my head and look towards the tail instead of looking straight on and trying to go down. I like to look here because I feel like you have a better angle for filling in the tail than trying to like fill it in while you're looking straight on. I feel like when you look to the side, you really kind of see that angle in the side of your face better. So right now I'm just kind of struggling because the height of the hair through here is kind of throwing me off. And I'm trying to get them to look as even as possible. Hopefully this is all still in frame. Okay, so now again, I'm just going to start to do those upward strokes. I'm trying to have my face tilted towards the camera too, so hopefully this footage will turn out okay. So again, just some upward soft strokes to make it look like I actually have hair there. This I pulled down a little bit too far. I like to use my spoolie a lot to kind of like clean up, to start the cleanup process. I feel like it just sort of blends everything out really nicely, and then I'll kind of go in with my finger or Q-tip if I need to, but I find that using a spoolie works really, really well. And it sort of just takes off like just enough. So now I'm just sort of working on getting the fill-in to look as even as possible for my brows. And you know, I could, like I said, I could spend an hour on my eyebrows, but I don't. I really try at a certain point to just sort of stop and walk away. I feel like this one's a little bit boxier. And I can't get that. I can't mimic that boxier shape. So now I'm just going to try and soften the edges around here, this eyebrow, to kind of try and match it a little bit better. I tend to look around like in different angles and lighting to, sorry if I'm blocking my face, to get a good sense of what my eyebrows look like. I'm telling you, if I don't stop soon, I never will. And this arch could go up a little bit more. Okay, so I think that's pretty close. I'm just gonna stop now while I'm ahead. Like I said, I could go on and on and on. And then because I do, you know, my hairs are kind of all over the place sometimes, I do like the Essence Make Me Eyebrow Gel Mascara. It has little tiny fibers in it. So if you need a little bit of help in that department, this just does a really good job of kind of helping beef up. What's that? Oh no, weird beeping. Oh goody, my husband's home again. Things could get noisy. And this is in the color Soft Brownie Brows. I think this is the only color that I could find. So that is the finished product. These are my eyebrows. This is how I do them every day that I do my makeup. So you can see it doesn't, sorry, that's the garage door. It doesn't necessarily take me a ton of time to do them. It might take me a little bit less because I was talking through this process. But that's basically my eyebrows. You can see it does make a really huge difference with my makeup. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give thumbs up and subscribe to this video so that you, or subscribe to my channel so that you can be here for all the fun. And yeah, I'll see you again all soon. Bye-bye. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the fun. You can also follow me on all the social medias as Modern Retro Gal. If you have any suggestions for videos, please feel free to leave those in the comment below. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all again soon.